Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are in an interesting match. As you can see, it is an Xbox only lobby and we are in the Hood. AKA the Mighty Hood. AKA... I don't know what else it's called. But anyway, it's one of the most requested ships that I play on the channel, believe it or not. It's also one of the ships that I've always said is one of the most underrated ships in the game, for its tier anyway. However, it does have one glaring weakness, and that is planes. Lord have mercy, I would be better off getting on the deck myself with a 9mm pistol and shooting at the planes. Because this thing cannot shoot down planes. It don't matter what tier they are, this thing just does not shoot down planes. You gotta pray to God that the carrier just doesn't know what they're doing. With that being said, we are going to push forward. We're going into the left side of the cap here. Again, it is the north map, but it's the awkward north map that nobody likes. But at least it fits for the fact that we only have a 5v5, so it's not so bad. That being said, we're going to be in a heck of a fight as usual. Anytime I get into these lobbies like this, I just assume that my entire team is absolutely useless, and I go forward and I do what I got to do to try to win the match. So we're going to be pushing pretty hard here. We've got a Colorado out here who's just sailing broadside. So we're going to go ahead and try to get a hand on him. Now, one of the things you got to remember about the Hood is a battle cruiser. So when you're fighting people in the Hood, you have to keep that in mind. It does have a little bit of armor if you use it properly, but if you're relying on the armor, it's usually not a good thing. You want to try to make people miss more often than not. Use the agility of the ship to try to get away. It's very fast, it's got good concealment, and you can dodge by just getting out of the way. Right? Like, it's really one of those ships that doesn't like to necessarily get right in and fight. It's not quite as weak in terms of brawling as, say, your other British battlecruisers, like the ones that have torpedoes, but it's pretty close. But as you can see, we forced the Colorado to go away, which is always nice, because that thing overmatches me, so any chance that I get, I also overmatch him with my 15-inch guns. And I ain't gonna lie to you guys, tonight has been rough, man. I played so many games tonight in the Hood, and the other ship that you guys have been requesting is Gnaizino. So I'm gonna try to get you guys some matches in that, but you'll see pretty quickly that I've had some of the worst RNG I have ever seen out of the Hood. I don't know if they changed something in the Hood, but I don't remember anything in the patch notes about the Hood being changed, but good lord, man. I've run this thing with the Azure Lane Nelson build for so long, and I've never really had any issues with the accuracy. It's accurate enough. Generally, battlecruisers have a little bit better accuracy than your standard battleships do, and of course, the Mutsu is shooting HE and gets a fire on his first shell that hits me. Shocker. But, as we reach out and touch him, we get 3 shells on target and very little damage out of it. So, these guys are clearly backing away, right? You got Mutsu reversing, you got the Colorado running, so kiting away is not going to continue to do me any good. Now, what I could do here is potentially turn my attention elsewhere, but Mutsu decides to push forward. He actually takes another shot at us. Again, hits me. Okay, let's just put this into perspective. That Mutsu hits me with the freaking single shell, gets a fire. Follows it up with immediately getting a double fire on the following salvo. Like, really? Really, game? That's how you gonna do me? Meanwhile, he's sailing broadside to God and everybody. I have a California right here that should neuter this man. But as you can see, our Nelson gets absolutely yeeted by their Arizona because he just sails in full broadside. We get a decent hit on the Mutsu, and I'm just waiting for my teammate here in the Cali to actually shoot something. Because up to this point so far, I don't think anybody but me has really shot anything. And that's going to be a continuing trend for pretty much the entirety of the match. Now, obviously, Mutsu's still broadside. He gets absolutely punished finally by the California. We get a shot out, finish him off. The Arizona's starting to push back in, and so is the Colorado. So I'm going to initially start to turn to kite, but then you'll notice that I start getting shot from the right. their Nelson has pushed in, and now I'm kind of in an awkward position. Now, their Nelson is also using armor piercing, which is something I love to see out of people running the Nelson, because it has fantastic armor piercing that nobody seems to use because the HE is just brain dead mode. You just fire HE and forget about everything. But Arizona goes full broadside to our Cali. Cali does what he should be able to do, which is just yeet anything that goes broadside. Thing has 12 guns and they're pretty freaking accurate. But Arizona then turns away. We're going to try to get a shot out on this Arizona as he turns away, and you'll see my RNG is just freaking horrendous. And of course we land 2 shells. They both shatter on the belt of the Arizona. Trying to go superstructure there, didn't quite pay off. Now, I've gotten out of range of the Nelson for now, so I'm going to try to start to turn in. I'm going to turn towards the Alpha Cat. This will allow us to start putting some shells downrange on the broadside of the Colorado, as well as potentially catching this Arizona as he makes his turn back in. Now, Colorado is going around at like quarter speed for some reason, so kind of threw my aim off a little bit on that shot. But we are going to be able to get a potentially good look here at the Colorado, because he is going to fire his guns. Arizona's turning away. Again, I don't like shooting at an Arizona that's angled that well, especially from this range with the accuracy that I've been getting tonight. So we elect for the broadside of the Colorado instead. And again, starting to get some pretty good results. It's not amazing damage, most of those being relatively ineffective. But we did land 4 shells that time out of 8, so that's a 50% hit rate. And that's when the carrier starts showing up, and thus begins the woes of the Hood versus carriers. Now, obviously, this being a Serov, we've got to turn in to try to dodge the torps, not just because you can limit how many of them hit you, but you can also generally cause them to not arm, because the Russian carriers have a much further torp arming range than any other carrier. So if you know that, and you turn towards them, a lot of times you can catch them off guard and actually do quite well. Now, unfortunately, our carrier has just kind of sat around back there waiting to die as the Nelson gets closer and closer to him. Now, I don't know why our carrier wasn't able to kill this Nelson. Like, come on, man. It is a Nelson. It has probably less AA than I do. Like, there should be no problem for that carrier to kill that Nelson. Now, Arizona, again, is still angled relatively well. He's not flat broadside, but we are trying to utilize front guns on Arizona, rear guns on the Nelson, trying to keep them off balance, right? We do get a couple of pins here. Again, Colorado having some horrendous accuracy as well. Our carrier goes down because, again, if you just sit around and wait to die, people will oblige you eventually. They give you auto drive for a reason, and I don't know why he would just sit there for the entire game and wait to die. When you can see the people coming towards you, why don't you just click the button and let the auto drive get you out of there? Now, what happens next is actually really, really unfortunate. I am going to get a good shot here at the Colorado. Colorado elects to shoot at the California, which is highly unfortunate. Nelson actually picks up a clear sky, which is absurd to me, because I don't think the Nelson has that good of AA. Which means this carrier has probably been dropping fighters over that Nelson the entire game. But we go straight through the bow of the Colorado, exploiting the fact that Tier 6 battleships have a 25mm bow, so anything 15 inches and above overmatches it. Our 15-inch guns included. Now, as we push out, I want to finish this guy off. He already fired. He's going to get his rear guns involved. He does get a little bit of damage there with the rear guns, but we're going to be able to easily finish this guy off. And as we do, the carrier gets spotted on the or like just off in front of me, and I'm going to get a little bit tunnel vision. Now, I know that the Arizona is here. I did not know that the Arizona had beached himself on the island and is ready to punch me in the face. That is highly unfortunate. And then on top of that, I'm the only one left. I've been the only one that killed anything this lobby, and I still got to kill 3 more people in order to give myself a chance. Shocker. Every time I'm in an Xbox-only lobby, that's what I assume is going to happen. Now, I did get a little bit of help from the Cali, so I can't complain too much, but it would have been nice if somebody on my team could have picked up a little bit of the slack. And what's really going to become a problem for me is, A, not finishing off the Arizona there, but B, also not being able to engage this freaking carrier. The carrier is running away from me. He's trying to get out of spotting range because he knows that I can absolutely yeet him given the opportunity. Arizona pushes forward, so we're going to go ahead and try to aim the shot. Again, we take him down, but unfortunately the carrier gets out of range, and now there's a big problem. What is that big problem? Nelson is still alive and in a position behind the island where he can shoot at me because the carrier is spotting me, line of sight, and I can't do anything about it. So I elect to leave the cap here. Now, initially, I do manage to go dark, but the carrier comes back over with his planes to come after me. And my goal should have been immediately to turn back in and go after this Nelson. But in my heart of hearts, I was thinking maybe the Nelson will be dumb. He'll push in. I'll get a chance to shoot at him and go after the carrier because I need to kill both of these guys. But unfortunately, the Nelson is not dumb. He's using the carrier to spot me, and he's sitting behind the island and just lobbing shells at me with no, consequences, which is unacceptable. I cannot let that happen. So we elect to go ahead and turn back in towards the Nelson, trying to put some, island between us, get away from the influence of the carrier, hopefully. It's not necessarily going to completely get out of the way, but again, this Nelson shooting AP is actually kind of... For me, it's kind of good, because in this situation, if he's shooting HE, I'm in real big trouble. But because he's shooting AP, he still overmatches me. He's got 16-inch guns, so when it comes down to it, he's actually got more guns than I do, and he tends to be a little bit more accurate, at least from what I've seen. But we are going to continue to try to push into an engagement with him. Unfortunately, the carrier is going to come in and show just why the carrier versus me is a bad thing. I'm doing my best to mitigate all the damage, but I can't dodge everything all the time, and that is nasty. He lands one torpedo strike and gets me for 12,000 damage. That hurts. Especially in a situation like this where I'm going toe-to-toe with another battleship that has good heals. I know I can take the Nelson under normal circumstances, but at this point, I elect to go for the home run, try to get him off the board, hoping that I can get the full salvo away and get angled back before he gets his AP salvo away. Unfortunately, RNGesus says absolutely not. I only hit it with 2 shells from that range on a broadside frickin' Nelson, and then he lands the shot to kill me. But I'd rather die to the Nelson in that situation than the carrier, so I don't mind that. 153,000 damage, 3 kills, the only person to kill anything in the lobby. I gave it my best. California, again, he at least tried. He got a high cal in the process, so I can't really complain there. But, yeah, it's just one of those games where just didn't quite have enough to finish anything. But let me know down in the comments below if there's another ship you guys would like to see. I will be trying to get a Guys Know video for you guys. I will also be working on an Indianapolis video because that's another one that's been popping up lately. So just bear with me as I go through your guys' suggestions. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.